So we have an example where it says IQ scores have a normal distribution with a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 15. Whenever you see normal distribution, you want to draw that normal curve and fill in your values by putting the mean in the middle and then adding and subtracting your standard deviation to the right and the left. So if you want to pause the video and do that on your own, go ahead and do that now. So this is what your normal curve should look like. Our mean was 100. The first question is, what is the probability of a person having an IQ of 112 or more? Now, this doesn't have to be perfect, but 112 is somewhere around here. And we want to know the probability of a person having an IQ of 112 or more, which would be this shaded region. This is the same thing as asking what percentage of people have an IQ of 112 or more. So to do this, we need to figure out our z-score because 112 is not exactly 1 or 2 standard deviations away from the mean. You can see that it's between the mean and 1 standard deviation. So we need to find its z-score. If you know how to do that or you want to practice doing that on your own, go ahead and hit pause to find that first. Okay, this should be the z-score that you got. X is the value that we're interested in. So in this case, that was 112. Our mean was 100, and our standard deviation was 15. So we simplify, and we get 0.8. Now, anytime you are finding a z-score, you need to make sure you round to 2 places. In this case, we only had a tenths place, so I'm going to put a 0 in the hundredths place. That's important. So again, we're looking at this area of the curve, and we know that this line is the z-score of 0.80. So that's where we have to use our z-table. This is the positive side of your z-table, the left-hand side, or depending on this table that you're looking at, but usually the left-hand side is your negative z-scores, the right-hand side is your positive z-scores. So this is only half of the table right here. What you're going to do is find 0.8 in the farthest left column because that's the tenths place of our value of our z-score. And then across the top, that's your hundredths place. That's why we had to write 0.80. These intersect at 0.7881. Now, the z-table only tells you percentages below on the curve. So that 0.7881 that we just found is this portion. It's always the percentage to the left or below. If I convert that to a percent, that means 78.81% has an IQ below 112, but we don't want that. We want 112 or more. So that's this section. Remember, the curve is 100% of the population. Everybody is represented in this curve somewhere. So if we know that this left-hand side is 78.81%, that means the shaded portion is 100 minus that 78.81%. So according to this normal curve, 21.19% of people have an IQ of 112 or more. I'm going to do another example. This one is the probability or the percentage of people that have an IQ between 95 and 108. So again, I would encourage you to pause the video to find the z-scores yourself. You are going to have to find two different z-scores. The first one, x is 95. The second one, x is 108. But you need to do the z-score formula twice here. So if you want to do it, go ahead and pause the video. So the z-score for 95, I got 0.33, make sure you round. Sorry, negative 0.33. And for the 108, your z-score should be positive 0.53. Now remember, the z-table always tells you the percentage below or the percentage less than. So you're going to have to keep that in mind a little later. What we want is the percentage between 95 and 108. So between these two lines, this shaded region. So you're going to have to use your brain a little bit when we find that area. First, we're going to use our z-table again. I'm going to start with negative 0.33. I have a negative z-score, so I'm going to use the negative side of the z-table. You look along the left column, and the 10th place was 3, so I'm going to find negative 0.03. And then along the top, my 100th place was also 3. So you go ahead and find where they intersect. And that would be 0.3707. So remember, the z-table or the chart tells us the percentage below. So what we know so far is that 37.07% of people have an IQ below 95. We don't want that though. But now I'm going to continue on to our other z-score, which was 0.53. This is the positive side. So the 10th place was 5. We find 0.05. And then the 100th place was 3.53. Those intersect at 0.7019. So we also know that 70.19% of people have an IQ below 108. Now remember, we want this. I'm going to use different colors to show you what we found so far. Here's 95. The chart told us that 37.07% of people are below an IQ of 95. The chart also told us this section. Okay, this was my 108 right here. That means this entire section that I just outlined in green is 70.19%. So again, we have this entire area that I'm highlighting right now, and we have this little area right here. I want this area. So the last thing we need to do is just subtract. I don't want the entire 70.19%. If I eliminate the 37.07%, that will leave me with this portion in the middle. So 33.12% of people have an IQ between 95 and 108.